Welcome back to 7th Grade Mustache. On today's episode, we'll be speaking about the struggle bus. We live in a society that puts success above all else. That's fine. We live in a society that allows artificially inflated interest rates to drive the cost of living into astronomical realms. That is not fine. The side effects of that society are relationships that are directly affected by money. Relationships that are built on money. Early life lessons, or the lack thereof, form lifelong patterns that decide your existence. The struggle to maintain, the struggle to create, innovate, and attain harmony. These are all seats on the struggle bus. You may fall victim to or have known people that are addicted to struggling. Clinical studies have proven that humans enjoy hating something. Perhaps that seat on the struggle bus allows you to scratch a primal itch. What if I told you that you don't even have to ride that bus?
Would you get off at the next exit? How about that part? If I told you that, hey, we arrived at our location, you are no longer struggling, would you get off? Or are you so comfortable with the hell? If you want to talk about personal relationships and man and woman sexual relationships where I need a nigga that makes six figures. And then when you tell a bitch I make 100 grand and she's like, I need a nigga that makes six figures. You don't know. Oh, fuck me. You don't know what six figures means. But you are basing your life and your goals on something that you heard on television, not knowing what that actually means. On the flip side, we can talk about black folks, and a lot of times black folks, we start achieving and start getting our groove back, if you want to call it that, and then all of a sudden we will shoot ourselves in the foot. In fact, one of the things I used in a hearing one time was, you shot yourself in the foot, then you complained about the limp. We fuck around and caused our own worst situation, not realizing that we didn't have to do that, or we don't have to support this, or we don't have to support that, or you don't vote for somebody just because they're black, or you don't agree with somebody because of this. Or on the flip side, how many times do we disrespect a black business and want them to give us a discount and they just got started? Those things, those habits, they are counterproductive, and a lot of these are the things that are injuring us right now.
Let's talk about the individual experience. Coming up as a young person, you are this sponge of experience and stimuli. If you're smart, you're paying attention to the people around you that are successful and the people that are failing. And you can draw from those experiences without having to live those experiences, what you should and should not do. Now, a knucklehead will look at those experiences and still go through the same thing that person they're going through and not really learn anything because they're like, oh, I got to experience it first. Well, you're a fucking moron.
Or I'm smarter than that person. It won't turn out that way for me.
Yes. In which case, you're still a fucking moron. But as a young person, you come up and you say, okay, in this society that we live in, success is the key to access to many things in life, right? To access to a better standard of living. But also, enlightenment will take you further than that financial success. And hopefully, you'll get this enlightenment en route to the success and exceed this chase for financial success.
Hopefully, if you get that enlightenment sooner, it will usher your success in sooner. Or another thing about success, what people don't get, success is a moving target. What I might deem successful at 23, I may not deem successful at 43.
Okay, but what I'm talking about, though, at an early age is the foundations of one's own autonomy. Mm-hmm. And so that begins with a job, because with this job you develop social skills and you develop financial independence, because what you start to realize that, okay, I can now move around free of my parents. I can go and spend time with my friends at a fast food restaurant or a pizza joint and talk about things that we're going through. So then that expands my awareness. And then the things that I'm spending my money on, I realize that, okay, it's getting me a more comfortable way of life. I'm starting to branch out, see what I can get outside of my parents' grasp. And then you realize that, okay, I have to continue to enrich my mind and build my knowledge base, build my skill set, so I can then create a huge springboard or platform to jump off to the next level.
Create my own world. Yeah, your own microcosm.
Your world building. And creating your world, that entails enriching your mind and building skills that you can profit off of, because again, we live in a free market capitalist society. So then you realize that, okay, either I'm going to work for somebody or I'm not going to work for somebody the rest of my life. At 10 years old, when I got my first job, I realized I could not work for somebody the rest of my life to attain the goals that I had set aside for myself.
Yes.
Right. So this journey did put me on the struggle bus, but I jumped off that bus plenty of times.
First chance I got.
Yeah, now I did jump off and then I got back on. I jumped off and I got back on. I'm not going to bullshit you. I jumped off, I got back on, I jumped off, I got back on. Because by jumping off, I got into these parallel vectors that I needed to get to that would expand my awareness.
But Roscoe, one of the things that's different about a generation that we're in and the generation we came from, when we were kids, we wanted to be our parents. Not verbatim, but we wanted the independence, the decision making, the upward mobility, the ability to make our decisions. You know, one of the sayings that a friend of mine said, that I said it first, but he said it better. He said, when kids don't look up to their parents, you have problems, serious problems.
Well, if your parents are like deadbeat pieces of shit, then yeah. Then what you have is a self-propelled ambition.
Individual. Yeah, but hold it. But that's the problem now. You have kids who think their parents are deadbeat pieces of shit because they have jobs and they take care of them.
And that parent is just holding things down as they should.
Yeah, the parent's not the problem, but the kid has watched too much Kardashians and TV shows, reality shows, and they think that they're supposed to get discovered and be rappers and singers and have shows and influencers, but just get there. Most of those individuals still came from a good home, still came from a good situation. A lot of them cats were upper middle class. That's how they were afforded the ability to start a podcast or so on and so forth. But what I'm saying is that, we looked up to our parents. Like I said, when I said want to be my parents, I didn't want to verbatim be my mom. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, okay, I'll go to college, I'll do this, I'll do that in this order. Or I'll start my business like my grandfather, that kind of stuff. We looked up to them. We didn't have to be them precisely, but you learn from them how this world works and how we were going to manipulate it. But here's the situation. You got some people that leave home. When we talk about the struggle bus, you said you jumped on and jumped off. You got some people that leave the house early and never get off that bus. They make poor decisions, can't pick a mate, can't pick a job. How many of these 18-year-old girls declare themselves OnlyFans, like they declare themselves for the draft or some shit? Like, oh, I'm going to give me OnlyFans. Like, what the fuck? That's your goal?
Okay, but we were driven by different things. We left when we graduated from high school. And upon graduation, I knew that adventure awaited. And it was time to go and explore everything. And that's exactly what we did. We explored everything.
Did you consider yourself grown when you left the house?
Yeah.
I did. I mean, not in a negative way. But
No. But at 18, you a man. It's time to go. I had the option to go and shoot and get killed or kill for America. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that shit. Because I was way too savvy for that shit. I saw guys coming back with Gulf War syndrome, and I was like, nah, fuck all that. I ain't doing that shit.
That's too Vietnam-like for me. The thing we learned from seeing those guys that went to Vietnam came back with Agent Orange and couldn't sleep at night. Going through crazy shit.
Yeah, as little kids, we would see these guys. But then in high school, when guys that were like, 5 years older than us, and they would come back fucked up and like really fucked up. And I'm like, oh, no, sir, that is not the way for me.
You have motherfuckers getting disability or, and I'm like, dude, this guy's only, like you said, 23, 24, only 4 or 5 years older than us, getting full-fledged disability. I'm like,
the entire time while on this journey, I was pursuing things that I knew that would make me happy because they were things that allowed me to use my gifts, my creativity. But that plunged me into a life of struggle. And, but I knew I would look out the sides of the windows of that struggle bus and be like, all right, stop's coming up. I'm about to jump the fuck off here. I'm about to go explore some shit. What happened, it wasn't psychedelics that did this. See, I want y'all to understand something about me and partially about duct tape, is that we don't have to get high. We don't have to drink anything. From birth, we are dudes with crazy imaginations because we came up in a unique time. And because of this, we also jumped in feet first into junior high school and elementary school and high school experiences and experienced real shit
immediately.
So there was never a need to dull this raw edge. You know what I'm saying? Now, with ganja, that did help my creativity. And then psychedelics, that took it even further. But it did not create a new version of me. These things only just added a little sparkle to who I am already.
It was spice on the chicken, my nigga. It was hot sauce.
The chicken got to be dope, you know what I'm saying?
To begin with.
It can't be all spice. So
you gotta have some flavor to
the
begin
breading,
with.
all that shit. So, and then the oil, you fry the chicken in. But listen, my whole thing is that I realized, I knew that these choices that I was going to make, that my life was going to go in, would be involving struggle, because the life of an artist is one of struggle. But I then got jobs in the entertainment industry, and I began making stuff for other people, well-known people. And I kept making more and more stuff, and I realized that, this is not the shit that I want to be making. I'm making bullshit, and it's not making me happy. So I was fortunate to attain spiritual awareness through meditation and martial arts. And it was a way of severing my experience from this drudgery, working these jobs that they weren't doing what I want to do.
They were feeding you, but they were feeding your pockets.
They gave me shelter. They gave me, automobiles. They got me food to eat and all that stuff. All that's cool. But the thing that makes me happy is creating. Really what I'm saying to the people listening to this is that if you can do what you enjoy and earn a living doing that,
that's amazing.
That is it. That is everything. But the problem is that getting there sometimes is hella hard. And we know that it's hella hard getting to that place. Because, man, you and I know that, we've seen all these get rich quick schemes and house flipping and this, that, and the third. And you see people wash out. People wash out of these things all the time. And they come back the next year and they got a different scheme. I'm like, man, you keep jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing. Like, what is your thing? What is the thing? What were you blessed with?
But see, here's the problem with a lot of these people. They don't know when they were successful. Some people are successful and not recognize it. And so, you know what? You might not be a rapper. What old girl say? We need electricians, nigga. We need plumbers.
But it's the thing, though. Success is unmistakable because it's like being high. It's like being punched in the face. It's like having an orgasm. When you are in the moment, when you are fully present, you know it. You feel it. You see it. You see the trajectory.
That's you. You talk about yourself. Not everybody can recognize when they're successful. And you're saying some profound shit.
Dude, but listen, there have been projects, my own personal projects, I've been working on, and everything is coming together. I'm like, it's happening. It's happening. This is it. It's happening. But I don't verbalize it. This is internal dialogue shit I'm talking about. That's awareness. You know what I'm saying? That's knowing that, okay, I'm headed in the right direction. When I start seeing these communiques from the great mystery, from God, and it's telling me, yep, keep going, keep going, keep going. And then you see the distractions.
But people ask for miracles and don't see that there are miracles in their face.
Well, it's like the old joke. Guy gets to heaven and he's like, yo, what's up? You let me die? And he's like, yo, I sent you a helicopter, a boat, an airplane. Your ass, you got to turn them down.
But we're laughing. But look, let's go back to the analogy of the bus. When we were kids, we wanted to drive like our parents. The bus was simply a tool to get us there. We get our first jobs, we save up for money, we both buy our first cars.
Yes.
Now, so I've been without a car since adulthood, whatever, or
and it sucked.
It happened.
It really sucked.
Well, the only
but it wasn't the end of you.
No, hold it. The reason it sucks so bad is because of a rap song that we grew up on called Sob Story. I knew Rob when he first got his sob. What it was how many times did we help people and give rides to niggas, and then when we didn't have, them same motherfuckers don't even take your call. That's that shit we're talking about. That's when you learn, okay, independence is one thing. true friendship, or a nigga fucking with you, or a bitch fucking with you, is another. And those two parts are the hardest lessons to learn in adulthood. Because like I want to make sure that I'm in a situation where I don't need anybody, but if I do need anybody, I call Roscoe. If I do need somebody, I call, I know who to call. Because ain't nothing worse than when you call somebody. And here's one of the problems when you're young and you're being a player. I had a lineup of bitches that I knew who would give me money, take care of me, make sure I have what I need. But on the flip side, you got a couple homies that you can't rely on. I won't call on certain people.
Okay, what you're talking about is virtue. And
Mm.
there's people that you know that have virtue that you can call upon as like, dude, I need some help. Or I just need you to be there to have my
Just
back on
listen.
something.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
You know what I
look,
mean? Like, or I like, yo, I'm about to go on into this situation. I need some backup. You know what I mean? It's like, you notice this on your one hand, there's people you can call for when you need backup. You know what I mean? And those are people, men and women of virtue. Now, early you learn who has virtue and who does not have, who lacks virtue. So
in
you
my
don't even fuck
situation,
with those people.
look, my situation, my mother had virtue. My father, not so much. And I love him. I love him for who he is. But I love my mom for who she is, what she did, and who she made me. And those are the things that, unfortunately, sometimes as a black man, you have to deal with that shit early on. Like, oh fuck, I love this nigga, but I can't fuck with my father. You know
So
what
I
I'm
feel
saying?
like there's different flavors of hustle. And
Yeah.
there's the hustle that does not exploit people, and then there's the greasy hustle that exploits people. I'm more concerned with the former and not the latter.
I think one of the biggest issues that we have is that we know how to work hard, but we also got to work smart. You have to work to set yourself up for your leisure. You have to work to set yourself up for your
Ah, say
and,
that
and that
again.
and that's a lesson that a lot of us didn't learn early enough. You if you want to, we grew up with niggas that wanted to party, but me and you grew up making a situation so we could party. And for you,
See?
your art was your partying. Like you kicked it. We've been to parties with rich motherfuckers. We were parties with plenty of bitches. We done pulled 2 or 3 hoes out of a party. We did
But
that
how
shit.
many times did they look at you like you were a Martian because you just had natural swag?
Because
Because
what,
they didn't have it and they tried to paper everything and
look,
pay for
look, look,
everything. I'm like, bruh, you're gonna
look,
find yourself in a bottomless pit. You keep doing that shit.
look, you know, at one point I was a strip club motherfucker. I threw stripper parties. I had girls working for me. I was young, and what would happen? I told you this story. I had a couple girls come to me like, "Hey, you know, hey, duct tape. We heard you were having a party, and we came here to work, and you was nowhere to be found." I'm like, I didn't throw a party this weekend. So niggas would start using my name to get girls to come work for them, or I would walk in a strip club and not tip, but I'm like, yeah, I've tipped in the past and I bought drinks in the past, but these girls, they're sitting with me because they want to sit with me. They enjoy my jokes, and motherfuckers will get mad because, like you said, you have a nigga spending money not getting this as much love as I got, that kind of shit. So again, I'm a big dude. I'm fat. I'm out of shape, but people will get mad because I'm pulling the girls they want. Or I would teach. It was a young nigga hanging out with us back when my roommate was living with me, and I was teaching. I'm like, don't you have an older brother? How are you so awkward around women? How are you so? I don't know. So you would give him some game. Like, here's what you do. Here's what Hey, you see her? She keeps looking at you. She's making eye contact, but she's a stripper. Like, yes, but she also knows you're broke. She can tell that you ain't got no money. So if she's looking at you like that, it's because she finds you genuinely attractive. But I'm fat. So am I. But really, what people also will say to you, they're insulting you, but
They
they
want
don't.
to have a good time even though they're off the clock.
Yeah, but hold it. But also another thing, this is something that me and you talk about on different levels and different places. But when a nigga compliments your woman too much, what he's saying is she shouldn't be with you because you ugly. Or when a nigga compliments certain shit, he's like really jealous of you because, hey man, you good looking, you got good hair, you got this. They are. It's not so much that they're insecure in themselves, but they paint you in a certain light. And how many times has a nigga paint you in a certain light and realize, oh, this nigga can fight too? Yeah, I pulled your bitch and I can beat your ass. Now you deal with it. Because what happens when they're in a situation with you they're in the presence of a real man and they didn't know they was that kind of shit. So
We're going to give you a few hints about the struggle bus ridership. And here are the signs to watch out for. They all indicate a small amount or full-blown amount of addiction to struggle.
Man.
Number one, you believe that whatever you'll do is worthless without blood, sweat, and tears. I hear you. I grew up with this, but I'm working on it.
Hard work is necessary, but at some point in time, your hard work should bear fruit. Excuse me. It should bear some kind of fruit. That tree that you planted
is true. So that your hard work becomes experience, and experience translates into knowledge.
Hopefully, money or success or prosperity.
Sometimes, many times, because of this, you can talk work up. You can talk work up. You can manifest work by speaking to the right people. Now, number two, you believe deep down that you don't deserve things coming easy. This often stems from the fact that deep down, you believe that you don't deserve anything at all, or that you feel you're a fraud and soon everyone will find you out. Then at least you'll have the struggle of justifying it to yourself. Number three, you are so used to getting things the hard way, you'd be utterly suspicious, or you'd feel like a fraud if there was no more struggle.
Hey, have you ever seen a guy and he's dating a chick and she's a bad chick, right? But this is his first baddie. This is the first time he dated a chick with big ass, big titties, pretty hair, pretty face, and she's getting attention. He's not used to that. So literally, you're trying to talk her out of herself.
Dude,
to make yourself.
That's a losing battle. This is something that every man that dates a beautiful woman has to deal with. When you are with a beautiful woman, an attractive woman, a voluptuous woman, a woman that's going to turn heads, bro, you are driving a Ferrari. You got a Lamborghini. And what do you think is going to happen when you pull up at the traffic light in a fucking sports car? People going to look at it, man. Look, be grateful for this opportunity to enjoy it.
Hold it. But that's where you need to learn something. I have a defense mechanism. It's called sarcasm. Look, you were in New Orleans with me. We were shooting a video. We were at Mardi Gras. People kept trying to grab my girl's butt, say stuff to my woman. I socked a couple dudes. It's just who I am. It's a reflex.
No. Let me tell it how it really happened. So we're moving through the thick of people down Bourbon Street, and I was in the front, and I had my camera with me, and I turn around, and I saw this shifty looking ass dude, and I saw duct tape. And he reached for duct tape's woman, and I saw duct tape do this quick martial arts move with his hand, where he took this guy's hand and he just cranked it like a vice grip. He just cranked the shit, and I didn't bother to know what happens next because I knew we weren't fighting. But it was something that was so fast. It was so instinctual. There was nothing to it. And I'm like, all right, we're good. Let's keep rolling.
Look, I remember once I was at a club in Omaha, I was actually at a club in Bellevue, and I was dating a different chick. And hold up, we were in New Orleans. You said Bourbon Street. Bourbon Street. We were on.
We were on Bourbon Street.
I thought we were on Canal Street.
Nope, that wasn't Canal. It was Bourbon.
Okay, cool.
But people were getting out of the way because I had a professional looking camera, and they thought we were with like some legit crew and shit. So they were moving out the way because they're like, oh, they're shooting something, and it was funny.
Look, I was dating a different chick at the time, and I was in this club in Bellevue. I'm leaving, and she's like 4 steps ahead of me because I'm talking to somebody, and I see this young dude look at her, and he said, "Oh man, see this is." I ain't seen her so beautiful. I said, yeah, that's why she with me. And all these dudes just stood there. And when I said it, I'm like, yeah, this ugly nigga got a bad bitch. Y'all motherfuckers need to get your game up. And so you have to use that sarcasm. You have to, if you have to put people in their place. Sometimes it's physical. Sometimes it's verbal.
But here's the thing, though. Don't wait for them to say anything. Do not give them the opportunity. You set the tone.
But see, look, hold it. Let's jump back on the struggle bus for a minute. So if you have a good looking woman and you don't know how to respond to these situations, you're going to blame her.
You're going
You're
to
going
lose that broad.
her because you're going to cuss her out, say that she was cheating, say that she's doing this, say that she's doing that.
Your insecurity is going to cause all that shit
put their hands on women.
Coming down to a crash.
Yeah. Some niggas will slap a woman because of that shit. Oh man, she should have looked at him. Like, nigga, you ain't no pimp. You seen 2 or 3 pimp movies, and now you think no, motherfucker, you wasn't getting good looking women. She picked you. If you want to do a pimp, your bitch chose me. No, that bitch chose you. That's the only reason that you special, because you didn't have the heart to pull her on your own. So you must understand that you will jump on that struggle bus trying to control her, trying to keep her at arm's length. So you don't. Okay, I don't want her to leave me, but I'm gonna create a situation where she wants to leave me because of my insecurities. That's the struggle. You need to recognize what it takes to get somebody and what it takes to maintain them.
Okay. So let's continue with the characteristics on the list. All right. So number 4, working through struggles keeps you busy. So you don't have much time for anything else. And that's ideal if you want to avoid looking at some not so pleasant truths.
Yes, that's deep. You're avoiding the situation by working. How about this? In my situation, I didn't want to work on myself, so I kept getting women that had problems, so I can work on their problems and not address my own. If I'm saving them and fixing their problems, they can't say shit about my problems. Like, oh, well, you're this. Oh no, I'm not. What about you? I fixed. So you literally pick people with problems to avoid addressing your own issues.
Okay, next one. You are prouder when you obtain things through struggle as when you obtain things the same result with ease.
Oh, that's easy. Shit. I get paid the same amount of money when I go to work. I get paid the same amount of money if I have a rough day at work or a good day. But some kind of way, these motherfuckers feel like, hey, I had a shitty day at work, but I really earned my money. You're a fucking slow. You something wrong with you? What the fuck? Look, this old guy I used to work with. He said there's two doors that I walk into: a straight time door and an overtime door. I'm calling in sick on straight time and walking in the overtime door. And guess what? The first 25 minutes of my shift, I'm in the bathroom taking a shit because I only shit on overtime. I'm like, what? He said, I only go to the bathroom on overtime.
Nah,
and I
got me fucked up, dog.
I'd never heard that before. But he was serious. Like, look, nah, I'm not doing
programming. But listen, so next one. You constantly feel that you're in some ways broken and need to be fixed. Nah, dog.
But that's the whole thing. So what happens when you do get fixed, and how do you behave differently? Because since you're in a perpetual state of brokenness, if you were fixed, what would you do? The problem is once you're fixed, you're still doing the same shit that you were when you were broken, and that means you're breaking yourself again. That is you are literally breaking yourself so you can be comfortable, because that's what you're comfortable doing, being broken.
So, of course, the exterior circumstances need to change, but can you really? That is something you have to ask yourself. And also, here's another way to look at it. You tell the exact same story about your struggles to several persons in a row, convincing yourself more each time that things are hard. Not to be confounded with letting steam off once in a while for good and get something out of your system. That's healthy. Going on and on about the same things and whining and complaining does not help.
Hey, I got one for you. So have you've worked in call centers before?
Mm-hmm.
And
that was in high school, yeah, man.
Hey, but my shit's a little different. I work in a kind of a call center, but it's not, customer service or whatever. But long story short, there's nothing worse than when they're making a phone call, and every time a new person picks up, they say the same story. Hey, how you doing today? Man, you wouldn't believe what we go. And I'm like, God damn, he done said the same story 7 times to 10 different people. What the fuck? What?
That's his script.
No,
he's he's on some NPC shit.
Yeah, that is his. I'm like, man, this bunion is killing me. I'm like, you're not even standing up. And so I get in trouble for being sarcastic because at some point I'm gonna say, like, look, change up, motherfucker. Say something else. Talk about the other grandkid. I used to hate when people tell me how smart the kid is, and then I'm like, oh, he burned himself with the iron. He ain't that smart then. What the hell? Oh, he has ADHD. What does that got to do with burning yourself with iron? What are you talking? You hate. I hate hearing about people's kids because they say the same story to everybody who picks up the phone. Please, please get some new material. But that's also what you're saying. They're familiar with that. This is what they like. They like being miserable because they're good at it. They don't want to be good at being good.
Another one, the next one is you insist on doing things yourself that you don't like and are not good at, rather than delegate or downright dump it on somebody else. You're a perfectionist.
Look, I don't. I can admit when I can't do some shit. I got a friend that's a mechanic. He made fun of me. He said, "Man, hey nigga, you got more tools than anybody else I know. Don't work on shit." Like, yeah, I do. I do the easy stuff. I send you the hard stuff. Look, I can admit what I'm good at. I can jump on YouTube. I'll call the homie Rick, be like, "Hey, can I do this?" And he'll tell me, "You can do that." Or he'll be like, "Nah, man, you can't do that." Oh, thank you. I see a normal nigga might get offended by that, not me, because one, I've known this nigga since kindergarten. He knows my abilities. You feel me? So when he says, "Hey, duct tape, yeah, man, you can do that. Take you about 30 minutes. Take you about an hour and a half. The hard part is gonna be this." That's what he says, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm like, "Well, how much would you charge me for?" he'll say like $65. I said, "I'll give you 150 because I know I can't get this kind of service anywhere else." That kind of shit. I know my limitations.
You know he's grateful for that money too.
Oh no, he the homie. No, that's fam. But people don't know what they're good at. But when you're bad at that shit, you know what you're good at. You know what you're bad at. Why would you keep? It's one thing if you're doing what you're bad at to get better at it. You're doing what you're bad at just to prolong your own agony. That is some sick shit.
Yep. But this idea that you have made yourself. Let me start with this story. So, it was like the year we graduated from high school that summer. We got a job. I think you might have worked there. I know me and Rick worked there. It was at this shampoo factory. Do you remember?
I didn't work at that one. I didn't work at that one.
Okay.
But I'm listening.
Yeah. So, but we were 18 years old and we were working in this shampoo factory. And we knew this is just some bullshit temporary job and shit. But there were people in there that were dedicated to this and had been there for years and years. And
that's cool. That's not me.
That is not my thing. But I also knew what was coming. I knew that NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement,
oh my God,
was right around the corner. And
Clinton was in office.
Yes. So you got to understand what's informing my consciousness. So this is at the time where I'm, passing around Behold a Pale Horse to people, and I'm learning more about the Trilateral Commission and who runs the world. But you can look at it from a conspiratorial agenda view, or you can look at it from a brass tacks dollars view.
I need this knowledge to survive.
Exactly. And how it would directly affect people working in small factories like that. Well, long story short, that place was eventually shut down, after I had gone. But people would come in there and they would work these jobs, and, there were transient types, people like passing through, and people who were there dedicated for years and years and years. And I remember I was talking to this older white woman that was working on this line with me, and she's like, "What do you want? What do you really want?" And I told her, and she's like, "What else do you want?" I said, "Shit, I want this car with this, and that." She's like, "You can have it. You can have all that. Just work hard for it." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am, I will." And I had reached a point years later where I could have that, but I didn't want that anymore, because that was just some short-sighted materialistic bullshit. By that time, what I needed was capital to raise for a fucking
changed.
Film. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my goals changed, but
yeah.
But I got a couple situations like that where I remember when I was in high school, I was in a program called Upward Bound, so I was working at Creighton. So that when I went there in the summer going to class, I was still working there. I remember an older black dude was working there. His name was Maceo, and his real name was Maceo.
I believe it.
Funny, and the funny thing was Maceo always had a young white woman. I think they said he was packing, but the funny thing was Maceo was telling me like, "Look, this job ain't for you. I don't want you to be here forever." In fact, that's what made me.
Wow, that's real
That's what made
shit.
me. Yeah, that's what made me
Because
major
he
in
can see
finance.
how smart you are.
Oh no 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 no. He what happened was he was working at the phone company. He had worked there for several years, and he had fucked around and got so drunk one night partying doing cocaine that he missed work for 2 days, and
Oh,
they
he
actually
fucked
fired him.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, look,
And
he's
so
like, look,
he regretted what his
yes,
his bad decisions, and he was like,
yeah,
look, don't be like me.
yeah. He's like, look, there's nothing wrong with working here, but this is not for you. This is just a stepping stone. And again, I saw that nigga catching the bus like years later. He had a young white girl. I was like, God, dog, that nigga be pulling these hoes. But he was letting me know. That's also what made. So when they asked me what my major was in college, it was finance. Two reasons it was finance. One, I wanted to help people, and and here's the bad part. I tend to make money for other people better than I make money for myself. That's my struggle bus story because it's true. But and the other thing was it just let me know like, okay, uh this world is mine. I can do. We really came out of a situation education wise, skill wise, where we could literally do everything, anything we wanted to. Coming from the Midwest, coming from our good education, it's not. I know it's
And
not
good
like that.
family upbringing.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. But we literally, like, we were never surprised when one of the homies from our block were doctors. We knew a couple of dude became a doctor over here, dude became a doctor over here, motherfucker became an engineer over here, motherfucker was a martial arts expert. We were never surprised at the success of anybody from our hood, no matter what it was. And so, like, coming
Then
from that,
what's crazy is the guy, a family of people from up the street, the Beasleys, the father who has an acting studio in
mhm,
Omaha is
yep,
in movies with The Rock and
and Michael
huge
Beasley, yep.
huge names. And his son is in movies with Denzel Washington. You know what I'm saying?
Which one, Tyrone?
No, 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 no. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Because I knew because remember they had a burger joint on Ames,
So
Beasley's
no,
Burger.
this guy that I'm talking about, he was in Two Guns. He's been in like a bunch of big movies since then.
See,
Um,
so when I was in high school, one of his sons was a counselor at one of the places I used to work, and he was like, "Yeah,
Michael Beasley.
yeah, I didn't see, I don't know that one. I knew Tyrone. He was like, yeah, man, you need to bring your ass to Beasley's Burgers." We was just joking. Look, that's the whole thing is that you literally, once you decide that that's what you want to do, you have the ability coming from where we came from, not having an accent, working, being in different productions, that kind of stuff. So when you limit yourself or you struggle, so like I said, the struggle is not the goal. There are people out there who embrace it. I
No,
remember they
they
were
get stuck on the struggle bus and they don't
get
move
off.
beyond that. They cannot transition to something else because that defines their existence. And then they listen to music that placates that. And then they
Yes.
watch entertainment that placates that. And then they get used to this Joe six pack existence. And I'm like, dude, that's what you want? All right, cool. Peace be upon you. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Look, one of the things that we talked about being men is that I love black women, and sometimes that they get used to struggling, or that they come from a past relationship where a guy was dominating them, and so now that you're with them, and like I said, I had a situation with my lady where she was having a problem with the car, and she didn't say nothing. I'm like, why not? This is the difference between maintenance and repairs. Maintenance is $24, $48 for some brake pads. Repairs is $1,200 for a rotor and caliper and everything else. That's what happens when you turn the music up so you can't hear what the problem is. She's making more money than she's ever made. She's been at her job for 6 years. She repaired her credit. Her credit score is like 700 something crazy because since I take care of this over here, it gives you the ability to focus on that over there. And now she's on my case because I think I was on the struggle bus. Like, look, you need to start working on your goals. I'm like, oh, damn, I guess you're right. So that she's on my case now. You need to start meeting your goals. But that's also what it looks like when somebody loves you back. See, loving somebody is great. but loving back is what your goal should be. And a lot of us don't understand how to be loved sometimes. That is a legitimate part of the struggle bus experience.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, we talked about this on the episode Pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are dating a person that has a whole bunch of baggage, that does not have the mental horsepower to dig themselves out of a ditch, financially, or what I mean is that if you get with a person with shitty credit, and then they keep making these bad decisions to keep themselves in that status, that is not a person you should be with, because what's going to happen is their problems will become your problems, and that shit will begin to drag you down if you allow it to.
Sometimes we're taught things and we don't realize that it changed. For example, I dated a chick. Her mom had filed for bankruptcy a bunch of times back in the day, and it worked for her because back then they had real protection. That was chapter 13. Now all they got is chapter 11 and chapter whatever. So she was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about, I got some medical bills. I'm thinking about filing bankruptcy." I said, "Are you sure?" So I go with her, and then I show her like, "See, the protection that your mom had back in the day, they don't have anymore. If you pay them, all you're going to do is prolong some shit." She's like, "Okay." I said, "Well, look, how about me and you? Yeah, I am a finance major. Let's sit down and come up with a plan." And that's what we did. We came up with a plan. I took her to a bank that would fuck with her. She got some stuff paid off, some stuff paid down, and I helped her flip a car. And next thing you know, she's $10,000 out the hole. And I'm like, "See, and your payments on that loan were like $48 every 2 weeks." And she's like, "How'd you do that?" I'm like, "Look, that's because you were living in a 1983 state of mind." And I'm like, "So you need to sit down and recognize what the playing field is, what the rules are now." And hold it, I'm not saying that your mom was a bad person or anything like that. I'm saying that was cool in the 80s. You can't do that shit now. Say, how many motherfuckers nowadays do you know that think they want to sell drugs and do the shit they see on Power? And I'm like, it took that nigga years to get there. That is a story. Number one, it's fiction, but you
stop comparing your life to something somebody wrote and put and shot, and it's entertainment, dude.
Yeah, like I said, but we grew up when drug dealing was a job back then. It was an industry. In 83, 84, 85, 86, that was an industry.
Well, that's because they had CIA backing. I mean, come on.
They had real dope. They had poppies. They had real heroin.
They didn't have to cut it with fucking fentanyl.
And so that's the whole thing, is that we keep hearing these stories, and so you want to be on the struggle bus. You look. I know. So you've sold drugs once or twice, I'm sure. I'm sure you thought about it. I remember one time I was in high school and somebody had turned me on. He's like, "Hey, why don't you sell some cracks?" I was working at Hardee's. I'm working at Hardee's, and I got a couple crackheads. And I did this shit 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, I'm worrying way too much. This is. It's not stressful in the sense that I'm stressed. I feel guilty or nothing. It's like, hey man, I don't want to get arrested. This shit it wasn't enough money for the amount of.
It's not worth the trouble.
Problem. Yeah, it's not. What you say? It's not worth the lemon ain't worth the squeeze, motherfucker. And so, but I got it out my system. Now, got to college, fucking with some niggas from LA, and we started selling weed. But they was like, "Hey, you should sell weed because you don't smoke it." And we were getting it for $45 an ounce. You couldn't help but make money doing that stuff that way. But again, I never got wrapped up in it. That was never, "Oh, my goal is to be the biggest drug dealer ever." No. I make a little money, and I would invest it in my car. I'll get my car fixed. I would get something done, and then I would go to my regular job. And then I also had work study. So,
okay,
some people.
But here's the thing though. So then you have the generational struggle bus, where the parent and the kids are on that fucking bus. And that is not a fucking option.
Because, but you're reared for that. You are literally being taught how to be miserable.
First of all, take your kids on vacations, okay?
Please.
Take your kids on vacations. Get them out of their neighborhood. Take them to a place where they can go swim in a large body of water, where they can see some sand, where they can see mountains, where they can see monuments and powerful shit that was built by people with great minds. Because hold tight, hold your fire. Because what this is going to do is inspire these children and light a fire
Greatness,
under
yeah.
them, so they will want to do great things. Also teach them about the value of a dollar very early.
Hey,
It can be their allowance, it can be their chores, it can be having them start their own little like selling candy or whatever. Don't let them little motherfuckers sell bottled water at the traffic light though. Don't ever let your kids do that bullshit.
hey, you missed one, Roscoe. How about letting your kids see you in a different light? See, when your kids see you go to work every day, that's why they think you a lame. But when they see you at the beach, when they see you cracking jokes, when they see you as a real person, not just dad, not just mom, that that's that shit that is priceless. Those are the memories that okay, my mom was gangster. Like
Dude,
my
we were sitting at the dinner table last week, and I asked them when was the last time we had fish tacos. Dude, he said to me, he was like, when we went to the beach, and I was like,
you remember he remembered that.
I made fish tacos the next night. I said, all right.
Look, I took my kids to SeaWorld.
No, what
And
it was is like we went and got some fresh fish that was caught like a couple hours
fresh.
before,
Yeah.
and made fish tacos out of the ocean, and their minds were blown. And I was like,
Well, hold it. Fresh fish is way sweeter. But hold on. Look, um, this is so snobbish. This is snobbery at its finest. So I apologize in advance. Since in my adulthood, I've been to the beach maybe 2 or 3 times. Been to Puerto Rico a few times. You know what's going on.
shit was great.
Yeah, hold it. I ain't got there yet. It is so hard to get in the swimming pool. I cannot get in the swimming pool now. You
Oh,
understand that?
no. That's not snobby. Because here's why I can help you out with
After
that.
swimming in
Once
the
you
ocean,
swim in the ocean, where the water
I
is
almost
just full
died.
of like all these ions that charge you up and shit, man. And if you aren't careful, you get fucking carried away, literally and figuratively. But the deal is that then you go jump in a swimming pool and it's like, oh, this water is fucking poison, man. Like, what the fuck am I doing?
But that's the problem with the struggle bus. You don't think you deserve those things. And don't get me wrong, ain't nothing wrong with cruises. I haven't been on one. I'm not big on one. I will probably go on one eventually. But
But
that's
the primal man was very happy the day you jumped your black ass in the ocean.
just getting your feet wet, just walking through. Then under the water, submerged. You're watching fish
Oh,
swim around. You feel like Aqua fucking man, my
Aquaman.
nigga. You feel like a superhero. Like there's a sea anemone over there. Watch that shit, babe.
Dude,
You know
the
what I'm
last time we went to the beach, I got up the next morning and I looked in my eyes in the mirror and they were whiter than chiclets. And I'm like, oh yeah,
saying?
this shit is good.
But see, that's the whole situation where we're told like if you drink seawater, you're gonna die. Seawater be
Don't
saving
drink
you.
it. Don't drink it. But like, it's definitely good for your body.
But hold it though. They actually sell seawater now. You know that, right? There's some Italian seawater they sell. Now you ain't supposed to drink it every day, but that
I'm cool with mineral water. I don't need to drink ocean water. I don't need to
like,
drink
you
that
don't.
shit.
Hey, there's fish shit in there. Fish shit too, you know.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to drink that shit. But
Look,
I'll drink well water before I drink that shit.
oh, that's a whole other thing. But that's what we're saying is that you can't get that experience struggling. Or, like I said, if you're working towards a goal, then that's your goal. Then you when you achieve your goal, you're like, I get to kick back and realize. I got one for you. Now, you know this. I've been to New York 1,000 times. My grandmother used to live there. I got uncles there. Yada yada yada. But I had never been to Madison Square Gardens.
MSG.
My wife bought tickets for a Bud Crawford fight. He fought Lundy up there. I had a great fucking time. Do you understand? Had an awesome time. Because Madison Square Garden is like 4 or 5 arenas. It's huger than you think. And so we were like in the ballroom watching the fight, but they had a Rangers game at the same time. This is some dope fucking shit. And all these people are going to different events, and everybody's cool, and ain't nobody. Now, but that's the whole thing is when you're struggling all the time, you forget to count your successes. And this is something that, like, whenever people come to me with that problem, I'm like, look, first things first, you need to start counting your successes. Black folks tend to count our losses more than we count our successes. And when you sit there and you write down 15, 20 successes, and I'm like, well, give me your 3 or 4. And I only got 3 or 4 failures. Yeah, but you are dwelling on them. But you're not dwelling. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some motherfuckers out there right now that are way way more arrogant than they should be. You feel me? Like a nigga ain't been successful in his life, but he's like, yes, I know everything. Okay, those motherfuckers exist. But I'm saying when you dwell on your failures, you got to also look over here and count. Like you hear that quarterback, you got to have amnesia. You threw an interception, but you got to have amnesia. You can't focus on it. You got to focus on your success and win the game. A lot of niggas don't realize they need to be trying to win that game. And struggle is nothing wrong with hard work, but hard work should be temporary. Your success should be permanent. You should be counting them cars or collect this or do it. Like me and you are collectors. Like we've been collectors our whole life. It's probably a problem because we don't throw shit away. I'm like, but we're collectors. We collect comics. We collect action figures. We collect memories. That's what you're doing. We collect memories, and that's what drives me. That's what makes me go to work. That's what makes me do this shit for your kids because I want them to have great memories. Now, I ain't always been successful with my kids, but it's what it is. I don't quit being a good dad because I have a bad moment or because I'm broke and I can't. Yeah, it does fuck with you when you can't provide the way you want. Like it fucks with you. But that's not my story. My story is a successful one. So what it is, my nigga.
Another thing is, we've listed the signs here. When you see that in somebody, run away. run. Fucking run away. Of course, the humane, genteel people would say, "Oh no, you should help them." Fuck that. Run away. Get the fuck out of it. Listen. You can waste a lot of your life trying to change people. Okay? Now, all you can offer them is a friendly word. Does this person really want help? If this person want help, cool, man. Offer some help. But do not overextend yourself to help that person. Because that person has formed these neural pathways
already
and has entrenched themselves in that existence. Now, the sad part about this is their health will fail. Their health will fail because they're not taking care of themselves. I was talking to somebody today, and they were talking about how they were going to a class reunion coming up soon. And I asked about somebody that they was cool with and they was in a hip-hop group with in high school. And he's like, yeah, this man, he's had a heart attack and, he drinking a lot. And I was like, damn. And he's like,
really?
And he's like, his response was, what the fuck is going on with you, man? Like, I understand shit is hard, but you cannot let it beat you down like that. And I'm like, well, that's real talk. I mean, some people, though, they get the undertow of circumstances just rips them out, of their cognitive thinking and just buries them under the waves, and it's hard for them to get snapped back out of that. But there are tools to help you with that. I talk about psychedelics all the time and how psychedelics are excellent at making you look at your own bullshit and then washing it away.
Crumpling it up and throwing it away.
Yes. And with black people, we can have epigenetic problems. We can have epigenetic issues that are passed on from parent. If you have a parent who say your mother went through a whole lot of physical trauma while you were in the womb, then you'll be addicted to that adrenaline rush or that cortisol dump. You'll be addicted to this. And so you have to learn a way to work through this, and microdosing psychedelics does help to form new neural pathways. This has been documented. This is not hyperbole. These are scientific studies that have been proven in clinical trials.
I got two situations regarding what you're talking about. First, my youngest daughter is not my biological child, but when her mother was pregnant, she was always arguing with her real father. When her real father was there in her life for the first 2 or 3 months, she cried every day. The first day when she was 3 months and I had her, she never cried. And her mom was just wigged out by this. I'm like, it's simple. When she's been hearing his voice for 9 months, and every time he was yelling, cussing at you and all this other stuff, she heard that in the womb. So, but when she heard my voice, I was the one trying to make sure that you were straight. So my youngest daughter thinks I'm the greatest since sliced bread. Now,
because you're the voice of reason.
Yeah, but she, like I said, she 3 months she was eating out my hand, doing everything with me, and just wouldn't leave me alone. Now, about I haven't done psychedelic. Oh, I think I have done mushrooms once, but not in this situation. What I was going to say is, I got a homeboy that I work with, and we got stressful jobs, and I turned him on to those mushroom gummies, those lion's mane mushroom gummies, and he had been taking them for about a month, and he was like, he said, I said, can you tell the difference? Because I took some
Did you get those from the
MCT.
Amazon store?
I got a shitload of them, yeah. I don't pay full price, but I also got some MCT oil, and I told him, I said, look, I said, you take that MCT oil, you feel the difference in your memory in 3 or 4 days.
That's right.
The mushrooms are a little bit different, and so I asked him, I said, how are the mushrooms going? Or how were the lion's mane? He's like, he said, I'll give you an example. At work, it's been super shitty. He said, "Don't." He said, "Nothing stresses me." He said, we had straight up, no." He said, "We had straight up had derailments and everything, and I'm not stressed. I just deal with it, and I'm much more agile." He said, "I don't know if I feel smarter, but." And then that's when it hit me. I've been taking those since the death of my son, and people kept asking me, "How did you make it through? How did you make it through?" And I'm like,
I
I
didn't
just
know that.
pushed. Yeah, I had started taking them before he passed, but I was taking them. I took them for like 4 months. I think I ran out like in March. He died in December, but maybe I didn't realize they were helping me. Helping me with the situation. Yeah, I cried. Yeah, I was upset. I had bad days, but
But you rebounded from misery faster than normal.
I shouldn't say faster than normal because you know me for years. But it didn't. It wasn't the punch in the stomach that I popped right back up again, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I got a body shot, but I jumped right
No,
back
you
up.
did. You did. You jumped back up like fucking Tyson Fury.
Nigga, I got you beat. I got you beat. Do you remember that time that Derek body slammed Tracy? Hey, they were shooting craps, and Carlos told me the story. He said, "Man," he said, "I thought wrestling was fake."
I saw it. I saw it.
Are you? So you? I thought you saw it, but I wasn't sure.
I saw
He
it.
said he said he suplexed Tracy over a crap game. He said, "Nigga, pop right back up." I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was like he said, I thought if somebody dropped you on your head like that, you couldn't get back up, but that nigga popped right back up.
No, he was built like a crackhead roach.
Oh, nigga, that nigga was flexible. Look, what I'm saying is that there are things out there that help you through situations, and sometimes we don't realize it or we don't take them because we're whatever. But truth be told, I didn't want to dwell in misery. I didn't want to be in that dark place. I wanted to make my life better, make my situation better. I will hurt forever, and I will mourn forever the death of my son. But I don't have to be mourning forever. You understand what I'm saying? I don't have to be in this. I'm wearing black. My my existence is utter pain. No, that's not me, my nigga. But I maybe I didn't realize what I was doing actually helped me through it.
And you know what
And
else,
so,
man? Music helps.
oh man, hell yeah. I reminisce for a spell, or shall I say, think back. There's certain songs that even though I hadn't lost anybody yet, but there's still certain songs that invigorate me. And I'm always look. CL Smooth is such an underrated MC, but everybody Pete Rock is a great producer. Whatever, that nigga Chocolate Boy is worst rapper ever, but a good producer, worst rapper ever.
Dude, I remember one time I had the blues. Pretty fierce.
I dig
And
it.
I was sitting in the living room and I just happened to have the TV on. And when IFC was still IFC, the Independent Film Channel,
Independent Film Channel. Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
early 2000s, when it was still indie, this movie came on called The Cup. And it's about this little boy in a Tibetan temple. And all he wants to do is watch the World Cup. And there's this singing at the beginning. And it's like throat singing, like Tuvan throat. But it sounds so ridiculous. I went from fucking the edge of tears to busting out laughing like, what the fuck?
Oh my god.
And it completely turned over what I felt. There was times of great loss in my life, and Duct Tape came to see me one of those times, and we went to the strip club and we had a good time, and we didn't have to talk about shit. And then he was about to leave. He was like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And that was it. That was it. Gone. You know what I'm saying? Done. But it's so funny how in the blink of an eye, you can be miserable or you can be happy. And there's a choice in there. And these people that are sitting on this struggle bus choose to
The
get
fuck
off
off.
at the next stop.
Hey,
Get the.
look,
You know what? Don't even get off the next stop. Just tell the fucking bus driver to fucking open the door and just slow down a little bit, and you can just do a Steve Austin fucking just drop and roll. I'm talking about the Fall Guy, not the $6 million man, not the fucking wrestler.
look, but back in the day, we used to ring the bell and the bus would stop wherever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
That's what you can get off any time. Now, if you have a real goal,
No, no,
and you're
no, no,
trying to
no,
go.
no, no. If it was a cool black bus driver, like, all right, you want to get off right here? All right, go ahead. You
look,
know.
look. If your goal is to get to the mall, go all the way to the mall. But don't be on that bus bitching and moaning. I work so fucking utterly hard, my utter existence. Fuck that. The thing is that some of y'all don't recognize that you have evolved.
Okay, but here's another thing though. People like the blues, but people don't understand those blues singers travel all around getting paid to sing those blues.
Hey, how many kids did BB King have?
Tons.
23. That nigga was fucking everybody. And he didn't do it when he was singing the blues. He did it when he was a truck driver. That nigga had pussy in every port. So what I'm saying is that you can make your life better. Your life is yours. Your struggles are yours, your failures are yours, but also your successes. You got to count your successes, because if you're not counting your successes, then you're dwelling someplace that you don't need. I'm dwelling in self misery, self doubt, self everything. Fuck that shit. Get you some mushrooms, my nigga. That's what I did.
Think
Work your
of
way
it.
through it.
Think of it like a light in a mirror. Reflect that light, bounce that light off of something else, and keep it moving. You have to keep your energy moving so it does not become stale. Look, that's all I got. We out. Peace.
Holla back.